morning, everybody. Today I'm going to start our practice with a little mini lesson about Chatturanga. Chatturanga is the yoga push-up that we do. We kind of do this little flow in between each of the other sequences with the Chatturanga and then up dog or cobra and then coming into down dog. But there's a few different ways that you can do Chatturanga, depending on where your strength in your body is and what feels right for you. So I'm going to show you some different options here, and you can take whichever one you like throughout the flow. The traditional Chatturanga is a straight plank. You're up on your toes, your wrists are right below your shoulders, your knees are up off the mat. You're in a nice plank here. And as you exhale, you shift forward, bringing the soles of the feet parallel to the wall behind you, and then lower down halfway so that your elbows are right next to the rib cage. You want your elbows to be tucked in, really close to the ribs as opposed to pointing out. And when you come down, you don't want to go below the elbows. Lower down until your elbows are next to the rib cage, and then transition to up dog, coming onto the tops of the feet. Big breath in here, pulling the chest through the shoulders. As soon as you finish inhaling there, you roll over your toes. Exhale, coming into downward facing dog. Now, if that whole sequence seems a little bit difficult, it's hard on the arms, hard on the legs, maybe you feel a little bit wobbly, maybe you feel like your core is giving out, maybe you feel like your belly is sinking down towards the floor, you can drop your knees down to the mat. So you just drop those knees down, and instead of making a plank with your whole body, you're making a plank basically from the crown of your head to the knees. Again here, you just lower down halfway until your elbows are right next to the ribs. And here you're probably going to want to come into cobra. Cobra is the same as up dog, but your whole leg is on the ground, and you keep those elbows bent. If you straighten out the elbows here, you're going to have too much of a curve in the lower back. You might hurt your back. So you just want to keep a little bend in the elbows so that you don't come up too much and hurt your back. Now, another option that I always give my students is a double dip Chatturanga. That's where you go down as you breathe out, back up on your breath in, and back down again as you breathe out. I'll just show you what that looks like. Exhale down, inhale back up, and exhale going back down again. At that point, you can come into your up dog on a breath in, and then as you breathe out, come back into downward facing dog. Now you can also do this with your knees down on the mat. Drop the knees down. Exhale, lowering down, elbows tucked in right next to the ribs. Back up as you breathe in, and down again as you breathe out. Inhale, coming to cobra, and exhale to downward facing dog. The last option that we usually would take when we're coming back from a sequence and we have one foot forward and the other one back, maybe we're coming out from warrior two, you would cartwheel your hands down and then do a Chatturanga with just one leg on the ground. Inhale, sending your heel high. Exhale into your Chatturanga, lower down halfway, keeping that leg up. You can still do a double dip here if you like. Up dog or cobra on your breath in, and downward facing dog as you breathe out. And of course, if you feel like your arms are tired and you've done too many Chaturangas already, you can just skip that whole sequence entirely and just meet us in downward facing dog. So really, whatever's right for you. One more thing I wanted to mention before we get started today. If you would like to listen to some music, I make DJ mixes for my classes at the gym, and I posted some of them on SoundCloud. You can just search for Mora Rachey, the same spelling as my YouTube name on SoundCloud, and you can play one of those mixes while we're doing class together here online. I did record one live yesterday, but I don't yet have a cable to connect my mixer directly to the computer, so the sound is coming out of the speakers and then into the mic from the webcam, and it sounds really tinny, and it's just the sound quality isn't really the best. So I recommend that you would listen to the one on SoundCloud if you're missing the music. And I don't want to play it in the background just because I'm afraid that it'll get in the way of my voice and you won't really be able to hear my voice over the music. So especially because the sound quality still isn't very good. So visit SoundCloud and turn some music on if that's what you want. And let's get started. We're going to start in child's pose today. Come to a kneeling position on your mat. You can have your knees together, or you can open them up, put some space between them. Check back on your feet, make sure your toes aren't overlapping. You don't want to cut off the circulation on your toes. Inhale, lift your hands up overhead. And exhale, folding forward, keeping a nice long spine. Stretch your hands out in front of you. Relax your forehead down towards the ground. Relax through your arms. Let your elbows come down to the ground. Sometimes I like to bring my hands together here, make a little heart with my thumbs and index fingers. Sometimes it feels good to keep those hands stretched out a little bit more. Close your eyes. And just start to call attention to your breath here. Feel your back rising and falling with each breath. Feel your lungs filling up with fresh, clean air every time you breathe in and emptying out all the way with each exhale. Start to stretch out your breath, nice and long. Lengthening, deepening each breath, not in a forced way, not so that it's uncomfortable, just gently stretching out the breath. Find your yoga breath, the Ujjayi breath. This is a nice loud breath in the back of your throat. Constrict your throat just a little bit. And you can really hear that nice breath inside of your head, sounding like the ocean, moving in and out. Focus on that sound of your breath, the sound of the ocean, letting it fill your mind, pushing away all other thoughts, and bringing you fully into your body, here and now, at this moment, between the four corners of your mat. Let go of any thoughts of anything that happened earlier today. Don't worry about any of your plans for later and just be here, now, inside of your body. Start to do a body scan. There's no need to change anything. We're just checking in here. From the tips of your fingers, work your awareness through your hands, into your wrists and elbows, through the shoulders, to the back of the neck. Notice how your face is feeling today. Sometimes we hold tension in our jaw or in our brow. Then move down your spine, into your hips, and through the legs, knees, ankles, and toes. As you go through each body part, just make a note of how you feel today. Notice anything that feels off or sore. Remind yourself of any injuries you have, old or new, anything that might affect your abilities to come into a pose today. And remember that you can always take a break in child's pose on your back or belly. And you can also modify any pose in a way that's right for you, just making this practice your own. Take a few more deep, full breaths here, just being inside of your body. Come into puppy pose. Start to crawl your fingertips forward, lifting the hips up. Bring your hips right above the knees or just behind. Reach your chin or chest down towards the mat. Feel a nice gentle back bend here. Stretching out the belly. On your next inhale, bring your hands back, lifting up your chest, and make your way to hands and knees, tabletop. Wrists come right below the shoulders, knees come right below the hips. Move through cat-cow, always going with the breath. As you breathe in, drop your belly down, roll your shoulders back, bring your gaze up or forward. On your exhales, push your spine up towards the ceiling. Relax your head and neck down and drop the gaze through the knees. Keep moving just like that at your own pace with your breath. Inhaling, belly drops down, gaze comes up. Exhaling, pushing the spine up. Relaxing the head and neck down. Find your own rhythm here. Try to lengthen your breath and lengthen your motion to match your breath. Come back to a neutral spine on a breath in. Exhale to downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up. Check in with your shoulders here. Sometimes in downward facing dog, you get this feeling like you want to push your hips up towards the sky, so you end up overextending in the shoulders and pulling the shoulders into the ears. You really want to get all the length in your spine and in your arms. You want to keep the shoulders locked down the back. Pulling the shoulder blades towards the hips, out of the ears. Heels are reaching towards the floor in downward facing dog, but they don't need to touch. Just moving in that direction. Fingers are open, nice and wide. You can have your middle fingers or your index fingers pointing straight towards the short end of the mat, whichever one feels better on your elbows and your wrists. Pedal out your legs, bend one knee and then the other. Get the blood flowing through the legs and the hips. Let's do 3 sun salutations with the breath. Bend your knees, lift your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hopper step between your hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in, bring your torso parallel to the ground. Forward fold on your breath out, relaxing the upper body down. Inhale to standing, bend your knees, roll your spine up, stacking your vertebrae one at a time. Float your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Side stretch. Inhale, lifting the hands high. Interlace your fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the right. Back up to center to breathe in. And to the left as you breathe out. Inhale to center. Standing back bend on your exhale. Cactus your arms or drop your hands down to your back pockets. Straight back up on a breath in. Exhale, diving forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long as you go down. Half lift to breathe in. You can bring your hands to your shins or float them on the ground. Exhale, chaturanga, plant your hands, hop or step your feet back to your high plank. Double dip if you want, knees up or down. Up dog or cobra, breathing in. Come onto the tops of the feet. Exhale, roll over your toes, lift your hips up. Downward facing dog. Second sensation, we're going to start our side stretch to the left first. Bend your knees, lift your hands, big breath in. Exhale, hop or step between the hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in, pull the shoulders down the back, opening up the chest. Forward fold as you breathe out, relax everything down. Inhale to standing, bending the knees, roll your spine up, take your time, float your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Side stretch again, this time to the left. Inhale, hands high. Interlace your fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the left. Up to center as you breathe in. And to the right as you breathe out. Inhale to center. Standing back bend on your exhale. Straight back up as you breathe in. Exhale, forward fold, keeping the spine really long as you go down. Half lift, breathing in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out. Plant your hands, hop or step your feet back to your high plank. Lower down halfway. Keep your elbows right next to the rib cage. Up dog or cobra on your inhale. And downward facing dog on your exhale. One last sensation, no side stretch this time, just straight up and down, going with the breath still. Bend your knees, lift your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hop or step to the front of the mat, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in. Forward fold on your breath out. Rising up to standing on an inhale, let your arms dangle down to your neck concept and then lift them overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. And straight back down. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, diving forward. Nice long spine as you go down. Half lift to breathe in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out. Up dog or cobra to breathe in. Pull the chest through the shoulders. Exhale, roll over your toes, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Lift your right heel high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose, shoulders come right over the wrists. Foot goes back up to breathe in. Exhale, tap your right knee to your right elbow. Inhale, sending your right heel high. Exhale, cross it over, tap it to the left elbow. Straight back up to breathe in. And step the foot through between the hands as you breathe out. Rising up on an inhale, making your way to warrior one. Back foot's down at about a 45-degree angle. Arms come up overhead. If you want, you can drop your hands down to your hips for a minute and do a hip check. You want to push this left hip forward while making sure to keep that back pinky toe edge really glued down to the mat. Front knee is right over the ankle. Deep bend in that front knee. Toes pointing straight forward. Once you're happy with those hips, lift your hands back up overhead. Turn your pinkies in. Keep the shoulders moving down the back. Let's come into pyramid pose. Straighten out your front knee. Open out your arms wide to the sides. Take a big breath in here. On your exhale, hinging forward from the hips. Nice long spine. Stop when your torso comes parallel to the ground and drop your gaze down to your big toe. Imagine you can feel strings pulling your arms out in either direction, pulling the crown of the head straight forward. Take one more big breath in here. As you breathe out, release your hands down to the ground. Here's a chance to use your blocks if you have them. You can plant those blocks underneath your hands. You've got 3 heights with your blocks. You can take whichever one feels right to you, or just plant your hands on either side of the foot. Relax your head and neck down over your front knee, and then check back in with your back leg. Make sure that back pinky toe edge on the left foot is still glued down to the mat. Notice what's going on with your front knee here. You can have a slight bend in that front knee. The traditional pose has a straight knee, but that might not be accessible to you. So you can just gently bend and straighten, exploring the range of motion. Notice how it feels as you push that knee back towards straight. Feel a nice stretch on the back of the leg. You never have to come fully straight. Just find what feels right to you. Coming into revolve triangle pose, left hand comes right next to the right foot on the mat or on a block. Bring all the way to the left hand. Inhale, lifting your right arm high, opening up the chest toward the side. Try to stack your shoulders here, bringing the arms perpendicular to the floor. Right fingers are stretching up to the sky. If it's okay on your neck, you can bring your gaze up towards your upper hand. One last big breath in here. Exhale, release your right hand back down to the ground. Bend your front knee, rise back up to warrior 1, breathing in. Open out to warrior 2 as you breathe out. Pivot the back foot around, bring your feet perpendicular. Front heel can intersect the back heel or the back arch. Front toes pointing straight forward, back toes pointing straight towards the long edge of the mat. Hands stretching forward and back. Peek back on the back hand. Sometimes it likes to droop down when we're not looking at it. And then bring your gaze over your front middle finger. Let's do 5 yoga jumping jacks here. Inhale, knees straight, arms up. Exhale, sinking back down to warrior 2. 4 more, just going with your breath at your own pace. You don't have to stay with me, I'm just counting so you know where I am. 3, 2, and last one. Reverse warrior as you breathe in. Right arm comes arcing overhead. Left hand can stretch back down the left leg or wrap back around, reaching towards the right hip. It's almost like a side bend here, bending towards the left side. Maybe you feel a stretch on the right side of your body. Take one more breath in here. Exhale, transitioning to extended side angle. Drop your right elbow down to your right knee and reach your left arm overhead. You want to make a straight line or as close as you can come from your left middle finger all the way through the left heel. If it's okay on the neck, bring the gaze up towards the ceiling. Let's do those 2 poses 3 more times with the breath. Inhale, rising up, reverse warrior. Exhale, slowly sinking back down to extended side angle. 2 more, inhale to come up. Exhale, drop the elbow down to the knee, straighten out that left arm. Last one, just go with your breath. Come back up to warrior 2 as you breathe in. Exhale, cartwheeling the hands down, frame the front foot. Send your right heel high as you breathe in. Double dip Chatturanga, breathing out. You can keep that right foot up or drop it down to the mat. Drop the knees down if you like. Up, dog or cobra on your breath in. Downward facing dog. Exhale. And let's take a little break before we do that sequence on the other side. Drop your knees down to the mat. Make your way to child's pose. Untuck your toes. Relax your forehead down towards the ground. If you like, you can try the variation of child's pose with the knees together and wrapping the hands back behind towards the feet, palms facing up. It's a nice release for the shoulders. Close your eyes. Find your way back to a nice, strong, deep breath here. Deepening, lengthening the breath. If your hands are wrapped back towards your feet, bring them back out in front of you. On a breath in, lift your chest up, coming back to hands and knees, tabletop. Exhale, tuck your toes under, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Let's try that on the left. Left heel comes high, take a deep breath in. Exhale, knee to nose. Foot goes back up, breathing in. Exhale, tapping the knee to the left elbow. Straight back up, big breath in. Tap the knee to the right elbow as you breathe out. Inhale, sending your heel high. Exhale, step the foot through between the hands and rise up on an inhale to warrior one. Once again, checking that back foot. Make sure your back pinky toe edge is really rooted down to the mat. And then start to pull the right hip forward. If you notice that bringing the right hip forward is pulling the right pinky toe edge off the mat, that's where you want to stop. Push that foot back down. Lift your hands up overhead. Check on the front knee. Make sure it's right over the ankle. And breathe. Let's come into pyramid pose. Straighten out the front knee. Open out the arms wide to the sides. Big breath in here. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips. Keeping the spine really long. Stop when your torso comes parallel to the ground. Drop the gaze down to the big toe. Feel your arms stretching straight out, really long in either direction. Crown of the head stretching forward. One more deep breath in. And release as you breathe out, dropping the hands down to the mat. Again, you can find those blocks if you have them underneath your hands at any height. Or plant your hands on either side of the foot. Relax your head and neck down over your front knee. Notice what's going on with that front knee. Maybe you can straighten it. Maybe that feels okay. Maybe it doesn't feel right to have that knee straight. That's okay. Just gently bend and straighten. Notice how it feels to push the knee back towards straight. That nice stretch on the back of the leg. Just find your edge wherever that is, respecting the boundaries of your body. Meeting your body where it is right now. And let's come into revolve, triangle pose. Right hand comes right next to the left foot on the mat or on a block. All weight comes to the right hand. Inhale, lifting the left arm high, opening up the chest toward the side wall. Stack the shoulders, bringing the arms towards parallel, perpendicular to the floor. If you can't get perfectly perpendicular, that's okay. Just come as close as you can. Take one more deep breath in here. Exhale, release. Drop your left hand back down to the mat. Bend your left knee. Rise back up to warrior one on a breath in. And open out to warrior two as you breathe out. Sending the arms straight out in either direction, pivoting the back foot around. You might want to widen the stance here. If you'd always want to go a little bit wider from warrior one to warrior two, make sure that front knee is still directly over the ankle. Sometimes the front knee in warrior two has a tendency to go down towards big toe side and push it back in line with the ankle. Make sure your back hand is nice and high and bring the gaze over the front middle finger. Let's do our yoga jumping jacks on this side. Inhale, knees straight, arms up. Exhale, slowly sinking back down to warrior two. 4 more, just going at your own pace. Try to stretch the breath out. 3, lengthen your motion. Take your whole breath to complete each motion. 2, feel your whole body, every muscle working together. And last one. Inhale, coming to reverse warrior. Left arm comes arcing overhead. Right hand can stretch back down the back leg or wrap back behind, reaching towards the left hip. One more breath in here. Exhale, transitioning to extended side angle. Left elbow drops down to the left knee and a right arm reaches out overhead. Imagine a single line of energy stretching from the right middle finger all the way through the right heel. Three more times, those two poses with the breath. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale down to extended side angle. 2 more, just going at your own pace. And last one, inhale up. Exhale, coming back down again. Inhale back up to warrior two. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down, framing the front foot. The left heel goes high to breathe in. Double dip Chatturanga, breathing out. Keep your foot up, drop down, drop the knees down, whatever you like. Duggar Cobra, breathing in. If your legs are on the ground in Cobra, keep your elbows bent. Exhale, tuck the toes under, lift the hips up, downward facing dog. Taking another little rest here. Drop the knees down and tuck the toes. Push your hips back to your heels and relax your forehead down. Close your eyes. Reconnect with your breath, finding a nice, strong, deep breath once again. On your next inhale, lift your chest up, coming to hands and knees tabletop. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. And bend your knees, lift your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hop or step between the hands, forward fold. Half lift to breathe in. Forward fold, breathing out. Inhale to standing, nice and slow, rolling the spine up. Take your time. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. And let's do some balancing poses here. We're gonna do dancer's pose first. The most common mistake I see in dancer's pose is turning the hand the wrong way. So to make sure your hand is going the right way, you're gonna hold out your right hand like you're holding a tray. Bring all weight to the left foot. Sweep your hand down and back. Make sure that your elbow crease and the palm of the hand are facing out to the side. And then kick your right foot up, grabbing the big toe side of the foot. Thumb is on top, fingers underneath. If this already feels like enough of a challenge, you can stay right here. If you want a little bit more, inhale, lifting your left hand up. Exhale, hinging forward, bend your standing leg just a little bit, and lift that right foot up behind you. On your next inhale, come back up straight and release. Shake it all out. Let's try the other side. All weight comes to the right foot. Left hand comes out like you're holding a tray. Sweep that hand down and back on the elbow crease in the palm of the hand. Make sure they're putting straight out to the side. Kick your foot up. Make sure you don't turn that hand around. Thumb is on top, fingers underneath. If you're already feeling a challenge, a little balance challenge, you can stay right here. If you want to come deeper into the pose, inhale, lifting the right arm high. Exhale, hinging from the hips, bend the standing leg a little to help with balance. And lift that left foot up behind you. Come back up straight on a breath in. And release, shake it out. Ragdoll pose. Feet come hip width distance apart on the mat. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, folding forward, nice long spine as you go down. Relax your head and neck and grab for opposite elbows. Just letting your spine dangle down towards the ground. Bend one knee and then the other. Get a little swing motion going on. Before you release, just notice how your arms are crossed. So you can cross them the opposite way the next time you come in. Release your hands down. Weight comes to the fingers to heel to the feet back together again. Bend your knees, rising up to standing on a breath in. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Today we're going to do 3 chair planes. Lift your hands up overhead on a breath in. Exhale, sitting back into your chair. Push your hips down and back. Wiggle your toes. Make sure most of the weight's on the heels. Pull the shoulder blades down the back. Take a big breath in. As you breathe out, sweep your hands down and back behind you. Chest comes down to the knees. Try to lift your heels off the ground. Inhale back up to chair, keeping the hips really low. Exhale, chair plane. You can lift your heels a whole lot or a tiny bit, or maybe even not at all if that's what you're feeling today. Last one, inhale to chair. Exhale, chair plane. Come all the way back up to standing on your next breath in. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Ragdoll pose again. Open up your feet, hip width distance apart. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, diving forward, keeping a nice long spine going down. Relax your head and neck. Grab for opposite elbows, and then make sure your arms are crossed the opposite way, the awkward way. Once again, bend one knee and then the other. Feel all the kinks falling right out of your spine through the top of your head. Release your hands down to the ground. Weight comes to the fingers. Take heel to the feet back together again. Take a half lift as you breathe in. Exhale, Chatturanga. Plant your hands. Hop or step your feet back. Double dip, lowering down halfway. Don't go below the elbows. Back up, breathing in. Down again as you breathe out. Up, Tiger Cobra on your inhale. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Another little break. Drop your knees to child's pose. Relax your head down. Take a couple strong deep breaths here. On your next breath in, lift your chest up, coming to hands and knees, tabletop. And bring your knees together to touch. Send your right foot straight out behind you, like you're stamping it into a wall. If that's enough, stay right there. If you want a little bit more, you can lift your left arm up as well. Fingers stretching out in front of you. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, come into a little crunch, bring your elbow to knee. 4 more with the breath. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhale, elbow to knee. 3, 2, and last one. Inhale, sending your arm and leg out long. Exhale, drop your left hand back down to the mat. Tuck your left toes under. Lift your right leg to the sky and breath in. Open up the hip. Bend the knee back. You can bend and straighten that right leg a couple times. Let's try wild thing. If you don't want to do wild thing, you can just meet us in downward facing dog. Roll onto the pinky toe side of the left foot. Drop the right foot off the mat behind you. Straighten out the left leg and turn your hips open towards the ceiling. Let your right arm come arcing overhead. One more breath in here. Exhale, rolling back over to your three-legged dog. Send your right heel high. Take a big breath in. Step your foot through between the hands as you breathe out. Stay low. Bring your gaze forward. Take a deep breath in and out. On your next inhale, lift your left knee high. Arms float up overhead. Exhale, warrior 3. Send your left foot straight out behind you, like you're stamping it into a wall. Arms come out wide like airplane wings. You can bend your standing leg just a little to help with balance and drop your gaze down to the floor. One more deep breath in here. Exhale, release. Drop your hands down to the mat. Try to lift your left leg even higher. And then drop your foot down on the mat behind you, rising up on an inhale to warrior 2. Let's make our way into Prasarita, a wide-legged forward bend. Drop your hands to the hips, straighten out the front knee, and turn the right toes toward the long edge of the mat. Line up your feet with your pinky toe edges coming parallel. Pull your elbows towards each other behind your back, puffing up your chest. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, fold forward, hinging from the hips, leading with the chest. Nice and slow going down. Once you find your edge, relax your head and neck, and then release your hands down to the ground. You can adjust your feet as needed. My feet always want to go a little bit wider. Once I get my hands down, and then start to crawl your hands forward. Be really conscious of what your shoulders are doing, keeping the shoulders locked down the back. Moving towards the hips. Feel all that stretch in the back and the arms and the legs. Keep your hips in line with the legs here. Legs are perpendicular to the floor. And now walk your hands through your feet, fingertips pointing in the opposite direction behind you. See how far out behind you can comfortably crawl those fingers. Feel the nice stretch on the back of the legs. Walk your hands back to center. Weight comes to both of your hands right underneath the face to bend your knees. Pull the heels in towards each other. And rise up on a breath into starfish. Exhale, opening out. Warrior two. Take one more breath in here. As you breathe out, cartwheel those hands down, framing the front foot. Right heel goes high on a breath in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out. Drop the foot down to come into up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips to the sky. Drop your knees down to the mat, coming back to hands and knees tabletop. And bring your knees together to touch. Send your left foot out behind you like you're stamping into a wall. That's enough. Stay right there. If you want more, right arm can reach out as well. Fingers stretching straight out in front of you. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, coming into your crunch, elbow to knee. 4 more with the breath. Inhale and stretching them out. Exhale, coming into your crunch. 3, 2, and last one. Inhale, sending your arm and leg out long. Exhale, drop your right hand back down to the mat. Tuck your right toes under. Inhale, lifting your left heel high. Open up the hip. Bend the knee back. Bend and straighten the left leg. And come into wild thing or meet us in downward facing dog. Roll onto the pinky toe edge of the right foot. Left foot drops off the mat. Straighten out the right leg, turning the hips open towards the sky. Let your left arm come arcing overhead. You can relax your neck back. One more breath in. And as you breathe out, roll back over to your three-legged dog. Send your left heel high, take a deep breath in. Exhale, step your left foot through between your hands. Stay low. Gaze comes straight forward. Big breaths in and out. On your next inhale, lift your right knee high, arms float up overhead. Exhale, warrior three. Right foot goes straight out behind you like you're stamping it into a wall. Arms come out wide like airplane wings. Everything but that standing leg is parallel to the ground. Bend your standing knee just a little bit to help with your balance. One more big breath in here. Exhale, release your hands down to the ground. Try to lift your right foot even higher. And then drop your right foot down on the mat behind you. Rising up on an inhale, make your way to warrior two. Back into Prasarita, wide-legged forward bend. Drop your hands to your hips, straighten out the front knee, and turn your left toes toward the long edge of the mat. Bring your big toes ever so slightly turned inward to line up those pinky toe edges. Inhale, lift your hands up overhead. Exhale, sweeping your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers, push down, puffing at the chest. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, hinging forward from the hips, leading at the chest, keeping the spine really long. Once you find your edge, relax your head and neck and peel the arms off the back. Push up through the hands to pull the shoulder blades down the back. Reaching towards the hips, out of the ears. Release your hands, let them slide down your legs, stopping wherever they feel good. If you can reach all the way down to the feet, you can tuck your fingers underneath the pinky toe edges of the feet. And then bend your elbows out to the sides to come even deeper into your fold. Release your hands. Bring both hands right underneath your face. The weight comes to the hands to bend the knees and pull the heels in towards each other. Inhale, rising up to starfish. Exhale, opening out to warrior two. Take another big breath in here. As you breathe out, cartwheel your hands down to frame the front foot. Left heel goes up high on a breath in. Double dip, chaturanga, breathing out. Up dog or cobra to breathe in. And downward facing dog on your exhale. Open up your feet, bring your pinky toes to touch the outside edges of the mat. We're going to come right into Malasana, our deep squat. Bend your knees, looking forward to your hands. Take a big breath in. Exhale, hopper step outside the hands. Toes out, heels in. Bring your hands to heart center. Push your knees out with your elbows and stretch your spine up really long. Imagine you feel the crown of your head stretching out towards the sky, lengthening the spine. Take one more big breath in, sitting up even higher. And release as you breathe out, making your way to a seat. Coming into boat pose here. Let's start by just clasping our hands outside of the knees and sitting up really straight and tall, lengthening the spine. And try to keep your spine where it is. Release your hands, tuck your fingers inside the creases of both knees, and lean back to flip the feet. If this is enough, you can stay right here. If you want a little bit more, open out your arms wide to the sides. We're just going to try to hold boat pose today for a few breaths. If you want even more of a challenge, maybe you can straighten out those legs. That one's really hard to hold. This is the kind of pose that makes you shake. That's normal. It's actually really good for you. You can feel all those muscles getting nice and strong. One more big breath in. And release. Drop your feet down to the mat. Hip width distance apart. Bring your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards the hips. Gently windshield wiper the knees side to side, releasing the hips. Coming into reverse table, plant your feet flat on the mat. Fingers are still pointing towards your hips. Some people find this hand position uncomfortable for reverse table. You can always turn your hands the other way if having them pointing towards your hips feels really bad. Inhale, lift the hips up, rooting down through the feet, pushing the hips up towards the ceiling. If it's okay on your neck, you can relax your head back here. And you can stay right here, or you can move with the breath. Take a big breath in. And exhale, sweep your hips back through the hands, trying to keep the hips elevated above the ground. Come onto the heels. Inhale, back up to reverse table. Let's try 2 more of those with the breath. Exhale, sweeping the hips through the hands. Last one, inhale up. Exhale, sweep your hips down and back. And release. Come all the way onto your back. Making our way into bridge pose. We're going to do 3 bridge poses with the breath. Stretch your hands up above your head. On your next inhale, rooting down through the feet, lift your hips up. And exhale, lower back down to the mat, 1 vertebrae at a time. 2 more times, just going with the breath, inhaling to lift. Exhale, slowly lowering back down. Last one. Inhale, push the hips up towards the sky. Exhale, 1 vertebrae at a time, back down to the mat. Hug your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, forehead comes up to the knees, curling into a little ball. Squeeze everything together. Release your head back down to the mat. Find your kneecaps with your hands and do some circles with the knees. Give your lower back a little massage on the ground. And find circles going the other way. Release your arms out wide in a T. Float your legs in a tabletop, 90 degrees in the knees and hips. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, dropping the knees down together to the right, all the way to the floor. You can put a block under your knee if it feels like it's too much of a stretch to come all the way down to the ground. Right fingers can tuck inside the crease of the left knee to help your knees stay down. And then bring your gaze over to your left hand to complete your twist. Release your right hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center on a breath in. Exhale, dropping them down together towards the left, all the way to the floor. Try to keep that 90-degree angle in the knees and hips. Left fingers can tuck inside the crease of the right knee to help them stay down. And bring your gaze over to your right hand. Release your left hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center, breathing in. Happy baby pose. You can grab outside of the knees at the legs bent, or you can open up your feet and reach for the pinky toe edges of the feet. Push your tailbone back down towards the mat. Gently rock side to side. If you like, you can straighten out one leg and bend the other knee. And trade back and forth like that a couple times. And release. If there's any last pose you'd like to do that we didn't get to in class today, you're welcome to take that now. Otherwise, just start to make your way into Shavasana, our final resting posture. It feels really good for me to have my legs in easy pose in Shavasana, but you might prefer just having your legs out straight, or maybe you want to bring the soles of the feet together and let your knees pop out wide to the sides. You can also bring your knees up and put a block underneath your back for a little restorative back bend here. Wherever you are most comfortable, relax into the floor. Lift your chest up and pull the shoulder blades down the back a little bit more. Bring your chin into your chest, rocking your head side to side. Just let your head fall back to its natural center point. Hands can be by your sides, palms facing up or down. You can bring your hands to your heart and your belly. Release your body. Let any tension melt out of you. Feel the ground supporting you. Release your breath, making your way back to natural breathing. And release your mind, just watching your thoughts come and go, like clouds in the sky on a windy day. Find a few moments of stillness to complete your practice today. Blink your eyes open. Start to make your way back up to a seat. Thank you all so much for joining me today for yoga. Namaste.